Won't be for long.
We have, this morning we have 12 items to consider, starting with number 1, 19-359, adoption of the Will County motor fuel tax. This tax is a 4-cent.
Gotta get around on the floor.
I'm sorry, I made a motion.
Moved by Mr. Van Dyne, second by Mr. Julio. Okay, Mr. Van Dyne.
Thank you. This before you is a possible 4-cent per gallon of motor fuel sold, the tax sold and retail within Will County for the purpose of use of consumption and not for the purpose of resale. The proceeds from this tax shall be used by Will County solely for the purpose of operating, constructing, and improving public highways and waterways. As you know, Mr. Walsh, 63% of our semi-truck traffic does not originate from Will County and is not.
Chairman have the floor.
And their final destination is not in Will County. I think it's a great opportunity to capture money from this traffic and lessen the burden on the constituents from Will County. In 2017, the 2040 transportation plan adopted by this board showed a $1.3 billion in shortfall. I think it is important to be proactive instead of reactive in providing safe roads for our residents. So therefore, I will be in favor of the gas tax.
Thank you. I got a list here of about 6 people that from the public that wants to talk about gas tax, and so we'll bring them down first and hear what they have to say, and then we'll go back to the county board members. Yeah. First up is Regina Robinson.
Good morning, and thank you for this opportunity. I have one word about yet another tax. I'm sorry.
No.
I have one word about yet another tax. This is pathetic. Raise taxes. For those of you who aren't paying attention, taxpayers, the very ones you need to pay all of these taxes that the state keeps imposing on us, are fleeing this state. Are you paying attention? You do not learn from the city of Chicago debacle, where they so smugly raised the cigarette tax and thought that would be their saving grace to fill their budget hole. Did you not learn from the Cook County debacle when they so smugly raised the tax on soda pop and thought that would be their answer to their tax problems? The end result? Both taxes had to be recalled because people went over county lines for their goods, as they will for this gas tax. By imposing this gas tax, you are hurting our businesses too. You vote along party lines. This I don't get. My husband and I don't always agree. Please don't tell me that you don't always agree with your children, your spouse, your co-workers. Are you kidding me? Think for yourselves. This isn't about being a Democrat or a Republican. Let me point out to all of you who aren't paying attention, those lines are blurring anyway. Union votes, social votes, party votes, we are all taxpayers, and we are all losing ground, as most of the rest of the country is prospering. Let me do the math for you. No taxpayers equal no money. People flee this state and you're losing money. They flee this state because of the taxes. Why is this so hard for all of you to see? Why are you all so deaf and uncaring about the people that you represent? A yes vote for this gas tax will prove your disregard for your constituents. There can be no other explanation. I don't know a single person that wants another tax imposed on them. Deficits, you say? The problem is the spending. The problem is the spending, which is on all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, I think is it Jerry Howard?
Yes. Afternoon, almost. I don't think I'm going to say anything better than the last lady. I'm a typical Will County taxpayer. I would like to see pension reform instituted before any new taxes are instituted or any existing taxes are raised. I'm going to share some personal financial information about myself that I haven't shared with anybody yet. I'm going to do it in a very formal setting here. I got married in '93 with my wife. We're still married, got 4 kids. Our household income was about $50,000 in '93. Now my household income is just under 100. I want to retire early. I've been contributing to Social Security like everybody here has to the tune of about 12%. 6% that I'm paying and 6% that an employer pays, which is my money. And after 46 years of that, I am able to retire with 30% of that income, which is about $30,000 a year. I'm not quite as ambitious as Mr. Walsh. I want to retire well before 66. So, in our mid-20s, my wife and I decided to open up an IRA. And that will allow us to retire at 59 if I could find the places to invest that money and grow that money, because our employers, and here's where we have worked over the years, Aldi, they match 4%. So when we started making $50,000 a year, that's $2,000 a year. What kind of options would I have to retire like that? Hobby Lobby, 4%, they match also. Dollar General on 53, 4%. And Prairie Creek also contributes the first 4%. I don't know how a couple of my friends that work for the county have retired at the age of 51. I don't understand. So over the time, of course, if you listen to Mr. Burko in our local Herald News, if you listen to Dave Ramsey on another local WJMO station, they say you better put 15% away. So from the age of 25 up to my age of 50 now, 51 almost, my wife and I are, I'm very proud to say, we are now putting away 15% into an IRA. So now I can retire possibly at 59 and a half. That's not bad. I don't have a problem working until 59 and a half, but obviously my wife retired early. So do the math for a second. 12% Social Security we're putting away, 15% in our IRA. 27% of my money is going to retirement. I don't want another tax. But 59 and a half, like I said, I want my wife to retire earlier. So guess what? We're taking another 5% of our income. We make 90-some thousand a year. We're bringing home a little over 55 a year, mostly because it's going to our retirement. Again, I want pension reform. So we're bringing home $4,500 a month, and my wife's going to kill me when she knows I'm sharing this stuff. And now we're taking that 5% as of about 2009 when there was a huge market sell-off, and we're putting that into a Vanguard Index S&P 500 fund, which has done phenomenal. Maybe my wife could retire, but think about it. Add it up, 12% Social Security, 15% of my IRA, and now an additional 5% because we got to bridge the gap because we can't touch our IRA until we're 59 and a half. 31% of the money we're putting away for retirement. And my kids wonder why they don't have Uber this or a lot of other things other kids have. It's because of, and by the way, 100,000, I'm proud of that. I know there's a lot of people that make 100,000 with themselves, but my household income is about 96 or 7. And here's the kicker. Here's the kicker why we need pension reform. I've got two friends who have retired, and one was a Will County cop, 51. One worked at the Will County Highway Department, retired, he's at 50. What kind of pile of money do they have to have setting aside to retire at that age? Because I can tell you, I hope to have $800,000 put away in my IRA when I turn 59 and a half. All the experts say you can pull out 5%. That's $40,000 a year. My Social Security should give me 30. That's 70% of my income, that's $70,000 a year. But I'm putting away 32%. But here's the kicker. I got a kid that wants to go to college. We went to a FAFSA meeting at Joliet Central, where he goes, where I graduated, where my wife graduated. When they saw what I had in my Vanguard fund, well, about $30,000, I did not qualify for any FAFSA money. I got penalized for trying to do the right thing and retire early. I've got other friends that have no money in a mutual fund, that's not qualified money that they could spend on whatever they want. I put it away for retirement, and I got no money. I got penalized. I'm not for raising taxes. I'm definitely not for new taxes. I'd like to see pension reform. I'd like to know how my friends retired at the age of 51. Have they put away well over 31% of their money? I don't think so. Thanks, Larry. Thanks, Board.
Thank you. Next up, I think it's John Walters. Is there John Walters? If somebody close to John Walters. Okay. Okay. Next up, Rick Curtis.
Jackie, we're neighbors.
I always love it when I come to Joliet to meet my neighbors.
Merry Christmas. So just to talk about something that Jackie said earlier today. She said the Chevy Volt was a very, very popular car. So just a point of order on that, that car was discontinued by GM last November. So the gas tax is a regressive tax that hurts the lower class and the most economically vulnerable people. I have met with over 100 Will County residents over the last 5 years through my ministry work at the Sanctuary Church in Romeo. Over those last 5 years, I've handed out close to $100,000 to help the economically challenged people of Will County. I have personally met with these individuals. I want to talk about 3 of these individuals. The first is Diana. She is a family of 4 who is waiting on child support from her deadbeat husband and can't afford to make rent. The second person is from Susan from Joliet. She's a waitress at Cracker Barrel. She works at minimum wage and she works at getting tips. She also can't make rent. Then there's Michelle from Joliet. I believe, Rachel, she's in your district. I don't know that. I don't know. But she's a family of 5. Her husband lost his job, and they needed groceries to feed the kids. Now, when they come to me, this isn't about needing $1,000. This is about needing $200 to survive, $300 to survive. And it's not just a handful of people, it's hundreds of people, okay? The middle class, we heard it earlier from the 2 folks earlier. They said, we're not happy, and they're shoppers. You know they're shoppers. What do? They'll go to the gas station that's a penny cheaper. In Will County, you know where they go? They go to Hammond, Indiana, where it's 70 cents cheaper per gallon because of the difference in the fuel tax. Okay? Mr. Van Dyne, I'm in the transportation business as well. Okay? I do a lot of business with transportation companies in Will County, in Cook County, in the Midwest. And I can assure you that the average mile length that a trucker runs regionally is 500 miles. So anywhere in 500 miles he can fill up, not just in Will County. Okay? Secondly, long haul guys, it's 1,000 miles. They have 150-gallon tanks on their trucks. They're not filling up here when they're passing through. I can assure you of that. Okay? So like I said, the middle class shops. You know what the rich do? You heard it. You know what the 1%ers do? They move. They move and they move out. So then you're left with a regressive tax that hurts the economically viable people. They're vulnerable. And I can assure you, out of all the people that I've met with over the last 5 years, 99.9% of them were women. Okay? That means that tax that you're proposing is a very sexist tax. It keeps the underclass enslaved to the Pritzker plantation. I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you. Patty Dieters.
Suddenly feel short. My name's Patty Dyers. I'm a New Lenox resident. I'm concerned about the gas tax. The state of Illinois raised the gas tax to 38 cents from 19 cents, making Illinois the 3rd highest in the nation. I have yet to hear what road improvements are scheduled to be done that you don't have the funding for. I haven't seen anything. What have the townships said that they need immediately done? It was my understanding that you actually have less roads to take care of than you did even 10 years ago because they've been incorporated into the villages. I want to know what studies or recommendations the townships have given you. I want to know why you need my money. I mean, this is a tax on me. This is a tax on the moms. We have to drive our kids around. I've had my kids' bus service canceled because the bus is too expensive. So now I have to drive my kids to school. You got to pick your kids up from school. You got to drive your kids to, you know, you're driving everywhere. I think it's a tax on the residents. I don't think it's a tax on the truckers. I think it's a tax on the parents and the middle class people and the lower class people in this county. I think you're taking money away from working families. You're taking away money from working mothers. The average citizen in Will County will now pay more than $300 in new taxes. My income has not gone up over $300 to cover these new taxes. Rich people don't miss $300 a year. I miss $300 a year. $300 a year in my family is a huge amount of money. So maybe the county's like, oh, but only our portion is $70. $70 is a lot of money in my house. As a gentleman said beforehand, the people who are going to be suffering are not asking for, they need another $1,000 a month. They need $70 to buy groceries. They need $70 to pay for something for their kids. They need something else. This is a lot of money to the residents and to the working people in Will County. I don't think you understand that. We cannot afford any more taxes put on us. I don't see the truckers paying these taxes, and to say it's just the truckers, it's such a small portion. It's the people who live here. Not only that, I live in New Lenox, they throw a 2% tax on everything you guys tax. I just think this tax is punishing the people who live in this county, and I hope that you vote no. So just take that into consideration. I think you're punishing the people and the working class families, and I think you should stick up for the working class families that you say that you represent, because I don't think you do.
Thank you. Anyone else here from the public want to talk? Come on.
Sir, thank you very much for letting me speak. I'll keep it brief. I do plan on coming back up here in a few minutes. I just want to let you know, I'm kind of a broke person, and every dollar matters to me. But guess what? When I got run off I-80 and I had like $3,000 worth of car damage, boy, that was hard to recuperate. Every pothole, every bit of damage, all throughout Will County, maybe not right on 80, but that all affects working families, families that don't have the money to get new tires or a new vehicle. So this extra $5 a month or whatever it's going to cost me so I don't have to do $3,000 worth of repairs on my car soon, I'm happy to pay that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Any others? Okay. Judy O'Gala.
Thank you. I do appreciate all the board members that took the time to set up a town hall meeting so that the residents in their area could hear from the county. I know I don't speak loud.
You're so soft that people can't.
All right. I gotta get a louder voice.
Get
I think Ken Harris had that same problem. Those of us who chair and are vice chair of the IT committee do not speak loud. Speak loud. Okay, I said I wanted to thank all the county board members who did host town hall meetings in their communities so that the residents could hear what our director of the highway department and other staff members had to say about the possibility of a gas tax here in Will County. What I did find at the town hall meeting in my district was that if you looked at the people who were there were, say, 20 people in the room, but of those, there were actually just 6 residents. The rest were elected officials and staff members. So those 6 residents were able to make it out. So when I looked at doing one myself in my district, I decided that what made the most sense was to put this information out there publicly. So I wrote a document and I put it out on Facebook, and I will put it into the letter to the editor to the paper to the people in my district. And because there's a lot of confusion on this. So when we're talking about Will County gas tax, we're talking about Will County roads and bridges. We're not talking about I-80. We're not talking about I-55. Those are federal roads. We're not talking about roads in municipalities or roads in townships. We're talking about county roads. I also want to make sure before I start is that everyone should be aware of the fact that when the state of Illinois imposed an additional 19 cents to the current state gas tax, that all municipalities and all townships will be receiving additional funding because of that 19 cents. So that means all the townships, all municipalities, and Will County itself will be receiving more dollars. Part of the letter to the editor, I'm not going to read the entire thing, was to clarify this for our residents. The Will County Highway Department, Department of Transportation, currently receives 2 sources of funding. One is MFT, motor fuel tax, and the other one is the RTA, which is the Regional Transportation Sales Tax. Of that, currently, we get approximately $9 million a year for our roads. The RTA tax will be approximately $23 million. Half of that, 11.5 million, is used for road and bridge improvements. The other half we use for paying off debt bonds for public health and safety capital projects. With the additional 19 cents that the state has imposed, bringing our state gas tax to 38 cents, Will County is expected to receive, on top of the money we already get, an additional $6.2 million annually. Another thing that not everyone was aware of when I was out speaking was that the state gas tax, as the county tax, if it's approved, would be indexed to the CPI. CPI is a consumer price index. What does that mean to the resident? It means that the CPI goes up, so will this gas tax. So this gas tax is not going to remain at 38 cents or 4 cents here in Will County. It will continue to increase as the CPI increases. But if you look at the CPI basically increases nearly every single year. In addition to that, Governor Pritzker has also put a bond program in place for additional infrastructure revenue. Those bond dollars are expected to be paid out over the next 3 to 6 years. Will County is expected to receive $23 million from that bond program. My residents in Eastern Will County are very concerned about a project where tax dollars have been wasted for decades, which is the Peatone Airport. In this legislation that they hope to take these tax dollars is an interchange at I-57 and Eagle Lake Road. If you look at that area there, there's nothing but homes and farms. That interchange improvement would lead onto Township Road. If you look at the interchange at Mooney Manhattan and the interchange at Peatone Wilmington Road, both of those interchanges are in dire need of infrastructure improvement. There are potholes, there have been numerous accidents there, and the village of Mooney is adding a new truck stop there, and the village of Peatone hopes to add a new truck stop at the Peatone Wilmington exit. So it would make sense that we look at the dollars that we're spending and spend them wisely. Everyone knows that Will County will always have an endless list of road projects that need to be done. That's a given. But same thing like us looking at our home improvements. We'll have something else that needs to get done in our house. But as county residents, we don't have an endless pot of money we can draw from to pay more in taxes. I believe the additional $6.2 million annually plus the $23 million in bonds to be paid over the next 3 to 6 years is enough. Because there has to be a moment when elected officials say, enough, no more taxes. Therefore, I do oppose the gas tax. I then asked everybody to please take a moment and write a letter or send an email in to the county board members that many of us received, that we received in our county board packet. In addition to the fact I did attend various different meetings and events in my district, and I asked them, I put this document before them, and I said, the Will County Board, countywide gas tax. Do you support a new gas tax? Do you oppose a new gas tax? Don't you have any opinion at this time? I have 117 names and addresses of people who signed this, and they are all signed in the opposed column. I only had 2 people say that they didn't want to sign. I think that this information that we have here is pretty significant as to the impact of how our residents feel. And I do want to reiterate that the biggest impact will be to our senior citizens who are on a fixed income, many of them just living on Social Security. Yet their property taxes go up every single year. If they live in a mobile home community, as we do have in my area, that mobile home monthly rate goes up every single year. Their Social Security does not go up every single year to meet those needs. This also impacts our low-income families. Our low-income families who are living week by week just to try and get by, to pay the rent, to pay for the food. And another group that nobody has mentioned is our young teen drivers. So those kids who are just getting their driver's licenses and have their job at McDonald's or somewhere that a young teen might work, or even at Menards, they now will be paying this additional dollars. So not only will any semi decide to stop and get gas in Will County, but everyone who gets gas in Will County. One more thing that my constituents said in County Board District 1, is that they are so happy they live near the border of Indiana. Those in the southern portion are so happy that they live near Kankakee County. And that's what they tell me. They already go there now because they're not going to pay more taxes to Will County. So I think that we need to really look at this and understand the fact that we are getting more money. Don't think that we aren't getting more money. We'll be getting, if it's paid out over 6 years, the $23 million, it's approximately $3.8 million on top of $6.2 million. So that's nearly an additional $10 million we'll be getting if it's paid out over 6 years. On top of what we currently get from our motor fuel tax and the RTA tax. I think that's enough. I think we need to say no at this time. If at some future date, there becomes another need, possibly look at it again. But I think we need to say no. I think that we have additional monies from this tax, and I think that you guys should listen to the voice of the people. I have 117 signatures, names and addresses, plus all the ones that we've received in our mail. We've received a lot of negative responses. Thank you.
Mr. Lyons.
Thank you, Mr. Executive. I just wanted to point out, first of all, thank you, Judy, for that information. And then I just wanted to point out that what you saw here today with these folks, thank you for coming up and speaking with us, but I've had overwhelming opposition to this tax increase. People are upset about what the state of Illinois has done. One guy, one of my constituents said, I can't believe how dumb the state of Illinois is, and I can't believe that you guys are willing to double down on dumb. And that was his statement. Because of this, and I don't want to heap more confiscatory burdens on our neighbors. I think enough is enough. I can't believe that we're actually here debating this, because if you even bother to look around or ask questions, you're going to see that people are tired of taxes. I put out a little poll in my district, and it was a bipartisan poll. And ironically, and I think I mentioned this before, the Democrats came out higher as far as their concern on taxes than the Republicans. And that's odd, because the assumption is that, we want less taxes. So it's a bipartisan situation. It's going to affect everybody in the pocketbook. And I don't, and the lady that came up here first, she said, and I wrote this down, are we paying attention? And ma'am, my response to you is, no, many of us are not paying attention, because this wouldn't be up here for debate if we were. With that involved, I don't think we're hearing the people's voices, and I would like to put offer up a motion to have a referendum on this fuel tax. Unless, of course, there's fear of what they'll find out, what the voters really think of this. Now, it was told to me that, this referendum is going to be costly. But we don't care about the cost that we're perpetrating on the citizens in our communities. So again, I just want to reemphasize, I want to put up a motion.
I second the motion.
A referendum on this fuel tax.
Mary.
It's not on the agenda. There's no item on the agenda for a referendum.
The gas tax, yes,
It is, but you have to, we would need a resolution and everything to move forward with a referendum. I think it's a separate enough issue.
It's about gas.
Yeah, but you can separate it. I'm sorry.
According to the state terms, that's out of order.
I'd like to make a motion to remove this and send it back to the executive committee.
Motion made.
Second.
Yeah.
Second. Any discussion?
Can we go to our county before we?
Any discussion? Ms. O'Gallagher?
Yeah, I would just like Steve to clarify what he's moving and saying would like to move
I'd like to have this go back for discussion in executive committee. And I brought this up at committee before, and it seems to be overlooked, like a lot of things I say. But every time you raise that gas tax, the people that live in town and buy goods, they're paid for it. The trucks have a fuel surcharge. So businesses that send out cars to deliver things, or trucks, they're passing it on to the people that buy it. So, you know, I think we need to have a real good discussion, so I want to send back to the executive committee so we can have a better discussion, bring up all the issues, because we're not really talking about everything right now.
Motion second. Any discussion on Mr. Van Dyne?
All the information about this topic has been provided for many months. There's been plenty of opportunity, many town hall meetings to talk to, and plenty of time to talk to their constituents. I consider this another stall tactic, and I will not be in favor of sending it back.
Point of order, Larry. I did 2 town halls, and I did a survey on Facebook with 1,700 people, having 90% saying no.
Okay.
So we've done our due diligence, we have checked,
Okay.
and I say let's call for the vote.
All the questions.
Any more discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll. Mr. Ballard has a motion to send back to the executive committee for further discussion and
Barry?
No.
Frizzalone?
Yes.
Newquist?
No.
Ogalla?
Yes.
Cook?
No.
Moostis?
Yes.
Rice?
No.
Tyson?
No.
Harris?
No.
Trainier?
No.
Fritz?
Yes.
Mueller?
No.
Gould?
Yes.
Van Dyne?
No.
Balich?
Yes?
Brooks?
No.
Parker?
Yes.
Ventura?
Abstain.
Dallinger?
Yes.
Markham?
No.
Berkowitz?
Yes.
Cowan?
No.
Tumanello?
Yes.
Weigel? Berlegas?
Yes.
Winfrey?
No.
Affirmative, 13 negative, 1 abstention.
motion. What do that? Motion is denied. Now, we're back to Ms. Ventura, you wanted to talk on
Yes.
the issue?
Yes. Will County roadways have sustained more damage than other municipalities in the United States because we have the world's largest inland port, Center Point, in our backyard.